10 states that are alarmingly unsafe and unwelcoming for Black Americans. What they don't want you to know about the land of the free. It's 2025, and while many would love to believe we've entered a post-racial America, the harsh truth is that for Black Americans, safety and acceptance are still far from guaranteed. Behind the patriotic facade, many states continue to harbor environments where being Black can mean living in fear, being unfairly targeted, or worse, losing your life in your own neighborhood. This isn't about paranoia. This is about the data, the headlines, the countless lives lost, and the silence that often follows. Let's take a look at 10 states that, whether by policy, prejudice, or plain neglect, are making it increasingly dangerous to be Black in America. Florida, the Sunshine State, where standing your ground can mean ending Black lives. Florida is the poster child of this terrifying reality. Think back to 2012, when 17-year-old Trayvon Martin was walking through his own neighborhood in Sanford with a hoodie and a bag of Skittles. He was followed, confronted, and ultimately gunned down by George Zimmerman, a man who had no badge, no authority, but every ounce of entitlement. Zimmerman was acquitted, and Florida's infamous Stand Your Ground law helped make it happen. More recently, in 2023, a 35-year-old Black mother named Ajiki A.J. Owens was shot through a closed door by her white neighbor in Ocala, Florida, during an argument about children playing outside. Her 4 kids were left motherless. At first, the shooter wasn't even arrested. It wasn't until national outrage exploded that charges were filed. This is Florida, where laws seem more interested in protecting white fear than Black life. Missouri, America's murder capital for Black people. Missouri is making headlines for all the wrong reasons. According to the Violence Policy Center, Missouri leads the country in Black homicide rates, with an astonishing 65.7 Black homicide victims per 100,000 residents, more than double the national average. Cities like St. Louis are war zones for young Black men, and it's not just about street crime. It's the lack of investment, the over-policing, the schools that feel like prisons, and a justice system that turns a blind eye. Louisiana, where firearms and fear go hand in hand. Louisiana's gun death rate rivals war-torn countries, and yet little is done to address the violence disproportionately impacting Black residents. Baton Rouge and New Orleans, cities with rich Black heritage and culture, have also become epicenters of trauma and loss. Generations are growing up with the expectation that funerals are more common than graduations. Mississippi. Poverty, politics, and prejudice collide. In Mississippi, the gun violence rate is among the highest in the country, 28.5 deaths per 100,000 residents. What's more chilling is how this state, with its deep history of racial violence, continues to marginalize its Black population through voter suppression, underfunded schools, and hostile policing tactics. In Jackson, a majority Black city, residents have gone without clean water for weeks at a time. It's not just unsafe, it's inhumane. Alabama, where past and present racism walk hand in hand. Think of Alabama, and you might picture the civil rights movement, the marches, the speeches, the struggle for basic human dignity. But step into 2025 and the struggle hasn't ended. The state's firearm mortality rate has climbed so high that it now exceeds that of Mexico. In Montgomery and Birmingham, Black residents continue to face systemic inequality in education, housing, and health care. The Confederate monuments still stand tall, but Black safety? That's crumbling. Georgia, the peach state with a rotten core. Atlanta is often hailed as a Black Mecca, but drive just an hour outside the city and you enter a different world entirely. Georgia's high firearm death rates and incidents of racial violence show how quickly things can go from progressive to perilous. The 2020 murder of Ahmaud Arbery, who was hunted down while jogging in a neighborhood in Glynn County, revealed just how dangerous it is to be Black while simply existing in a white space. South Carolina, old money, new nightmares. South Carolina is steeped in history, much of it built on the backs of enslaved Africans. Today, the state still clings to its legacy of inequality. Black communities are under constant threat from gun violence, poor healthcare access, and underfunded schools. The Charleston church massacre in 2015 is still a fresh wound, a reminder that racial hatred is not just a relic of the past, but a terrifying part of the present. Arkansas, where justice feels optional. Arkansas ranks high in violent crime, and its firearm death rate has surpassed that of Mexico. Yet this state rarely garners national attention. Why? Because many of the victims are black and poor. Entire communities live in fear, not just of street violence, but of neglect from the very institutions that are supposed to protect them. In towns like Pine Bluff, gunshots are more common than police patrols, and accountability is virtually non-existent. Tennessee, where laws hurt more than they help. Tennessee is not often in the spotlight, but maybe it should be. With rising crime rates and a justice system that disproportionately targets black residents, safety is an illusion in many parts of the state. Memphis, a city with a rich black musical and cultural legacy, is also grappling with police brutality, economic inequality, and relentless violence. New Mexico, deadliest for police violence. New Mexico tops the charts for police killings per capita, and though its black population is small, black residents are statistically more likely to be stopped, searched, and killed. The numbers don't lie. And what's worse, accountability is a rare visitor. If you're black and pulled over in New Mexico, a routine traffic stop can feel like a death sentence. Let's be honest. This isn't about scaring people for clicks. This is about reality. These states aren't just failing black Americans, they're actively endangering them. When laws are written to excuse vigilante violence, when neighborhoods are ignored until they bleed, and when systemic racism is baked into every institution from schools to police departments, you have to ask, how free are we really? Because walking down the street, wearing a hoodie, playing music too loud, knocking on the wrong door, none of those things should carry the risk of death. But for too many black Americans, they still do. Legal disclaimer. This article is based on publicly available data and news reports and is intended for informational and awareness purposes only. It does not accuse any specific individual or institution of wrongdoing, but highlights systemic issues affecting public safety for black Americans. Readers are encouraged to verify sources and consider context when forming their own conclusions.